0-0 draw here tonight. Kingstonian at home to East Thurrock. Hayden, was that a pretty frustrating evening?
From start to finish, wasn't it? I think that we would all agree with that. I think that it's very difficult when only one team tries to win the game. Clearly, one team arrived to try to win and one team arrived to try to avoid defeat. And so that can cause frustration, but I think that the reality of the performance is the biggest opponent wasn't East Thurrock, the biggest opponent was ourselves. For 45 minutes, the ideas with the ball were very good, and we created a number of really good goal scoring opportunities and got a number of really great areas. But I think we overcomplicated it in the final third, and as a consequence of that, come in at 0-0. In the second half, as can happen in football, I think you could say we run out of ideas a little bit. I think the players become frustrated. They didn't lose so much control because we had the control in the first half through the ideas with the ball. We had the control in the second half because they conceded the ball to try even more determined to fight for their point. But I felt we wasn't clever enough with the ball in the second half, and albeit still had chances to win, and let's be honest, I think deserved to win. It's a really frustrating night.
I mean, yeah, you mentioned difference between the two halves, but even the first 15 minutes of the second half, we came out and the keeper's made another good save, they cleared one off the line. What was the difference in the last half hour? Was there a bit of legginess to the performance as well? Because it wasn't just struggling to break them down in the final third, but passes earlier on in the field didn't seem as crisp as they had been earlier in the game as well.
I think you could maybe argue that's the case, but I think I wouldn't use that as an excuse. I would say that the issues were more technical issues with the ball. In the first half, the ideas with the ball were very good. In the second half, I thought that the decision making on the ball wasn't at the right level, and that is as a consequence of trying to force the ball. That is of a consequence of playing a little frustrated. How are we not winning? That is a consequences of losing a little bit of quality, because we're losing a little bit of composure, because we're losing a little bit of impatience. And that's double-sided, that problem. On one instance, you're not creating the chances that you were, and on the other instance, it does leave you a little bit vulnerable to the counter-attack, of which they did have one or two chances of counter-attack. So, yeah, it was a disappointing. It was a disappointing night. Loads of good things with the performance. There's no doubt of that. No, you won't come to many games at this level and see someone dominate the ball from start to finish. But in order to dominate the ball, we need to finish our opportunities, and yeah, you're quite right. Get back on the game is really frustrating.
Did we lack a little bit of a plan B in the last 20 minutes when, when we struggled through in the first half? It was almost they were just happier sitting deeper and deeper. So, and as things weren't working, did we lack the option of going a bit longer or something like that? I realise that betrays the way you want to play football.
It's a criticism that has been thrown at me throughout my career, and I say tongue-in-cheek, plan A is to pass the ball. If that's not working, plan B is to pass the ball better than plan A. But the reality is that there was a plan B, and the plan B, if you look at teams that profess to playing but don't really play, they soon go long. My plan B is a different idea. My plan B is often a change of shape. So the 4-2-3-1 become a lopsided 4-4-2. The trigger being that it's four defenders out of possession, in possession. Dan Bennett plays very narrow. We go from a 4 to a 3. Sean Claresi plays high. Dan Bennett then comes off the chalk to create the extra man in midfield as Dan Hector stays wide. So the change of shape with 25 minutes to go was a plan B, but I accept what you're saying, but going long's never going to happen.
So, I mean, it's 4 points from 2 games against teams that are in and around the kind of areas of the league that we want to be getting into. but then you look ahead to the next few games, it's Bognor, it's Horsham, it's those kind of teams. What do you make of Saturday's game coming up?
They're the games you want. I saw Bognor play here last night. Horsham are a team doing very well, but these are the games that we want, because we want to win 3 points and we want to nick 3 points off them as well. So these games are ideal for us. The one point that I would say is, strangely, after 22 games we have 33 points. Last season, ironically, the 22nd game for Merstham was a 0-0 draw at Kingstonian.
Okay.
And we had 1 point less than what we've got today.
Okay.
So it's all to play for. There's no question it's all to play for. But we do need to maximise on the games in hand. And I can't help but think that it was a missed opportunity today.
Are you worried about, kind of, with so many games in hand, that, you know, you mentioned that 22nd game last season, that was January the 1st, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Whereas here we're almost at the end of the month. Are you worried about, you know, the amount of football we're going to have to play between now and the end of the season?
I understand the question. I would say I'm mindful of it rather than concerned about it. And the reason why I say that is that there's only one solution. And the only solution is to realistically bring in 4 or 5 players to accept that there's so many games to play and the squad is too small. But whilst maybe that would have happened last year, I don't know. This season the dynamics are different and we're not in a position to bring in players. If we bring in players, we have to replace players. And that's natural. That's natural in non-league football. It can't be a bottomless pit. And part of the challenge is that it isn't a bottomless pit. It's a collective where we work hard to get it right. But I'll say again, and I've been really consistent on this, at the moment everybody, particularly after Saturday, is talking to me about playoffs. I've never mentioned the playoffs. I've mentioned year one is a platform and a springboard and a foundation for a longer term idea. Do we want to make the playoffs? Of course we want to make the playoffs. We'll try to win every game. It helps when you win. People speak about fatigue and tiredness, but football makes miracles. No one's tired when you're winning. So the rest and recovery is very important. We've got a lot of football to play, but I think if you ask any of the players, they prefer to play than train.
Indeed. Well, unlucky tonight, on to Saturday.